Welcome back to a very far and in between episode of Ego on Break. I'm your host, Dynamite J. Andrews. Got the Mississippi Madman, Logan Creed, sitting to my side.
We're still alive.
And today we're going to do top fives. We haven't been really up to date on what's going on out in the outside wrestling world.
No.
And life's been really busy. We've had to adult lately, and adulting sucks.
Yeah, very much so.
But we're going to do a top five and just do some different categories. We got like favorite singles and women and tag teams and shoulda beens and coulda beens and woulda beens and stuff like that. So hopefully you like this type of episode. Maybe if it does well, maybe if we get some response from it, we do more. But yeah, what category you want to start with?
Let's do the singles, just random favorites.
Favorite wrestlers?
Yeah.
All right. You want to do it like name all five? You want to do one at a time? How you want to do this?
You go, then I go, then you
All
go,
right.
and I do.
So yeah, I made a little list.
I'm just doing it out of my head.
Just so I would not forget people. And when I say I just did it, I mean I like literally just did it sitting in the car. So yeah, my memory's getting horrible, and I'm a little out of date on current wrestling. So I didn't think I'd ever say that.
80s and 90s stuff.
Yeah.
So. Some 2000s.
I've been like die hard since I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. So to think now that I'm really not even up to date on what's going on.
Bro, with all stuff going on in my
situation.
life in the last 4 months, I ain't even watched wrestling. Not really at all.
So yeah, top favorite single guys. All right. For me, and I'm gonna give it just one little honorable mention. Just it kind of introduced me to wrestling was Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
but I don't want to put him on my list. But the guy, and the reason I bring him up is when the Undertaker debuted against like Hogan and him, like
Yeah.
that's when I was like, ooh, this is my guy. Like,
Undertaker.
it was different. It was fresh, even though he was dead. Who thought dead was fresh? But
Pale with red hair.
yeah, you know, like I really got into him at that time, and so Undertaker is my
Number
one guy.
God, I guess my number one's got to be Mick Foley.
Yep, I can see that. I know your history with Foley.
Cactus Jack, big time.
Yeah, for
really
sure.
wasn't even Mankind. Mankind was okay, but Cactus was Cactus.
Cactus is the guy that done it for you, huh?
And his opponent, to me, was always Vader. In WCW, them just beating the out of each other. And that was just what drug me into it. And a lot of it was like, his feud with Vader, he would take stuff and he would just come back. And you're like, how is this damn guy getting
right?
up? You know, there was some stuff and questionable when we were younger. You'd watch and be like, okay, I've heard people say it's fake. That looks fake. When I watched him and
You
Vader,
didn't say it with that.
nothing about that stuff looked fake.
He almost had Cena's gimmick before Cena. He never gave up.
No, literally. I remember the power. It was a Saturday afternoon. What was it? 6:05 on TBS.
TBS, yep.
And
CBS.
he took a power bomb on the concrete floor, and he got up, I just remember I think it was Cornette and probably Shivani, but they're like, how in the hell is he getting up? It ain't like he won the match, but it's just the fact that he got up. But it was just his drive, and he kept coming back. And he's like, bang bang, you're like bang bang. And it's, I mean, when we met the guy, he was one of the nicest people we've ever met.
He was really cool.
It just, he's also Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot.
I mean, the dude is really, you know, made the most of his 15 minutes of fame, so to speak.
And a
you know what I mean?
writer.
That's what I'm saying. He's done everything.
Multiple books.
He's been in some like movies, I think. Yeah. So
he was in a horrible movie that I was in.
yeah. So pretty crazy, but yeah, he's definitely a good choice. He's not on my list, but he'd definitely be an honorable
he's
mention.
My number one for sure.
Yeah, the next one is Papa Shango. It kind of falls into the same line. He was just so anti-color, I think, if that makes sense. You had all the neon and pinks and purples and blues, and I think he, you know, because they were like darker characters, I think it was, you know, kind of just freshened it up, you know. So he would be my number two, and then to see him go on and be, you know, the Godfather. I really wasn't a Kama guy, but when he became the Godfather, that was really cool. And then
he had the other gimmick before he got real popular.
who's the Spellbounder or something before he was.
I cannot remember, but I remember Taker talking about it, and I just can't remember the damn name.
I think it was the Spellbinder, Spellbound, or something like that.
But yeah, he was crazy.
But
too.
even the right to censor stuff when he was the Good Father, like all that stuff was really cool, man. Like I got behind it. So Papa Shango is definitely high on my list.
I kind of see him kind of like the Repo Man. Like he was a name, but a jobber.
Right.
And he was the guy that made everybody, you know, even as a good guy with the Godfather thing. So, he's going to be at the Comic-Con.
I was just going to say that. Like he's going to be at the Mississippi Comic-Con this year. And I don't know, maybe I go, maybe I don't. I've been wanting to go the last couple of years and just hadn't done it.
Well, it's going to be him and Kevin Nash.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I hadn't heard Kevin, but that's cool.
Kevin's man.
All right, you got
and
number
Napoleon
2?
Dynamite.
Oh.
So, yeah. Number 2 would be, I got to go with Hogan. I was always a Hogan mark when I was a kid. Still am at 47 years old. So I ain't going to say he's the best wrestler in the world. I will say stuff he did in Japan beat almost everything he ever did in America because he wrestled.
But I mean, he's kind of the guy that made wrestling popular.
Yeah, I mean, by far. I mean, he took stuff from each person. He's admitted Billy Graham and several others.
Yeah, but who hasn't? You
know?
know,
we all did. I mean, shit, I wore a leather mask. Gee, I wonder where I got that from. Just talked about him, you know.
Yeah, Hogan would definitely be on my list if it was longer. Like,
and I was trying to think, like, my favorite feud out of him, I think, would have been probably like WrestleMania 5 when he's wrestling Savage. I love that match.
That's a breaking up of the Hulkamaniacs or Mega Powers or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Hogan guy, man. Just like I said, like a closet Hogan fan, but I just enjoyed the attention that he brought to wrestling. So,
you know, and, supposedly just become a born again Christian. And I just read that.
Good for him, for sure. Good for him.
So.
Back from Hogan, and my third would be Brian Pillman. I always liked Pillman ever since the Flying Brian days. Then when he went into like with the Four Horsemen and a little bit with like his feud with like Tom Zink and Jushin Liger and those guys and Brad Armstrong, the Hollywood Blondes. I mean, getting into ECW, you know, perfecting the loose cannon, then in WWE, like was just always a Brian Pillman fan. Like, I don't necessarily have like a match or anything like that. It was just he was my guy.
I agree with that. Well, you put a dead guy on there, and I'm gonna put a real controversial dead guy.
Yeah. Well, they tagged, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, Chris Benoit.
I knew that's where it was going.
I couldn't help.
He would be on my list as well if it was longer.
3 days when that dude died. Man, you know what a big fan I was.
Right. I hate the controversy that surrounded his death.
I'm talking about the wrestler.
But if you
I'm
can
not
separate,
talking about the person. I'm talking about the wrestler.
If you can separate the person at home versus the character on TV.
I don't care what match of Benoit's you pull up. It's not going to be a bad match.
Right.
There's no way. I don't think the dude ever had one. You know, and that's what I tell everybody. It's like, when I say I recommend Benoit matches to people, I'm like, you got to separate the wrestler from what happened.
Yeah, and it tarnished it just a little bit for me, but I still can get behind, you know,
there's no better person to study.
You know, had he had a different name, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. Because if you would have been like, oh, Pegasus Kid, go watch Pegasus, like people wouldn't necessarily put it to
you.
You know what I mean?
That stuff too.
So no, I mean, if I had a longer list, he'd probably be on it for sure.
He's my number 3 because like him and Mick Foley at the time, and it was Foley's going out as Benoit's coming in.
Yeah.
And like I was like, because I was at that point, I was ready to quit watching wrestling when Foley left, honestly, because he was my favorite. And it killed me when he retired. And I was
because
like,
Foley was lost.
Freak, man. Well, he's going through a lot of pain after that Hell in a Cell bump.
Talking about like the Lost in Cleveland or whatever.
God, that stuff's awful. But yeah, I mean, but really him, and I still recommend his matches to watch. And like I said, you just got to separate what he did to what he did in the ring.
Right.
Because there's no better person to study, in my opinion.
Dude's a beast.
Now, as far as promo-wise, he's horrible. Absolute garbage. But as far as in the ring, not a better person in the world to watch.
That's it. I don't disagree with that. All right, my next guy, I guess this is number 4. And this may be controversial to some people, but I'm a huge Crash Holly fan.
I like Crash.
You know, from the Hollies to the Houdini of hardcore, and even when he was like Mad Mikey after getting fired or whatever. And he was in TNA.
TNA, yeah.
And it was a very short run there, but dude, I hate that his life ended the way it did, because I don't know if it was Bang, but the concept was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, suicide, I believe. Now, don't quote me because I don't know, but
I would have to look it up. I
best
honestly don't
of my
remember.
memory, I think it was suicide. Whether it was overdose or complications
God,
from
I was
something.
literally just going to ask you what happened to him.
Yeah,
That's how good my memory is.
But man, I think if he could have just hung in there, I think he just, when you're up here and then you come down here, some people can't handle it. But
Mike Austin,
it always, there's the potential to go back, and I don't think he could have left and went and learned a new hold and came back
or been backstage as a manager or something.
But I'm just a huge Crash fan, man. Like, it's just, I think if anybody had my style, I think I'd say it was him. Like,
you were soft.
I never necessarily went to pattern my style after him. But I think if I had to say, hey, this is the guy that I've maybe subconsciously patterned my style after, it'd probably be him.
I could agree with that.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. What were we at? 3 or 4?
That was my number 4.
4. So this is my number 4. God, I'm gonna do 2 dead guys in a row, but I guess that's what I'll do. But Eddie Guerrero. God,
I like guessing. Like in my head, I'm trying to figure out who you're gonna say.
It's Eddie, but I'm like, I was a big fan of a lot of 80s guys, but 90s is really where I really got into. I was a kid in the 80s, so 90s is when I started studying everything. Right. Eddie was just great promo, good at comedy, good at serious.
Oh yeah.
Good as a technical
all
wrestler,
around,
lucha.
Sure.
There was nothing that guy did bad. Again, he's like Benoit. I can't find a bad match of his. Him and Mysterio, Halloween Havoc 97 or 98, I can't remember. It's one of those two. Had the most perfect luchador match there is in the history of freaking wrestling. And because there's no botches, no nothing, and the right person goes over, and even it's no BS.
There's a couple of spots in that match where you was like, but
how? Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they to the normal person, you didn't even know that they almost messed up.
No.
But if you know, you know.
But there's a moonsault DDT. Ray said he's like, I've tried to redo this move over and over and over again. He said I have not been able to do it since that match, and that's like, and it's because of who his opponent was.
Yeah.
And it's just like, to me, it's.
And I think those guys got that good because, unlike a lot of people on the list, like those guys literally traveled the world doing wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, hell, he trained in Eddie's backyard for God's sake. Or sometimes. But
he's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, my next guy is, I don't know if you would count that he ever made it high on the totem pole, but Alex Shelley. I'm a huge Alex Shelley fan.
I like Alex, yeah.
From the stuff he did with Generation Next to like the paparazzi stuff he did with Nash, and then the Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, just dude can go, man. Like just all around. I really like the guy.
Okay. Well, that's number 5. This will be my number 5. Will be. I guess I got to go with the other part of the Mega Powers and be Randy. I mean, I got to go 80s and 90s. That's my favorite. One of my favorites. He died of a car crash. Supposedly he was having a heart attack when he had the car crash, and that's what made the car crash. But anyway, but again, my favorite match with him it would have been the same thing, WrestleMania 5. But it's like that was their. And the guy, what I liked about Randy though is he was an indie guy that become a bigger guy, and a lot of people don't even know that.
And not just indie guy, he was an outlaw guy.
Oh yeah, no, he was. Like, they were backyard mud shows, man. They had shows like we had.
Yeah,
you know? And
then when it works so well that the competition wants you, then and it's always been like that. When he was the outlaw mud show guy, the legit promotions, quote unquote legit. They wanted him, and then when he, made it, WWE said, we want him, and then if you got him, then I want him. So WCW wanted him. Like
the only place he didn't go was ECW.
Yeah.
So he even went to TNA. Remember his last match is TNA. He comes in and does a schoolboy.
Yep. But the reason he didn't go to ECW because he was a star and he didn't have to. Like, not saying guys that went there weren't stars, but like he was never in a position where he didn't have a job with the bigger companies.
Yeah, but I mean, technically he was with WCW until it closed.
Yeah. So.
And I always hated that. Even though he's in the Hall of Fame now, his brother took it, but I wish they would have done it when he was alive.
Yeah.
And I know there was always controversy. Nobody knows the real story as to what the hell happened, but
Controversy,
But he was another one though that I guess I didn't talk about this part with anybody, but he lived the gimmick. That wasn't his voice.
No.
Because they were like, very few people had ever heard his voice, and they're like, if you ever heard his voice, you wouldn't even believe it was his voice because you heard, oh yeah, so much.
Right.
But even his brother's like, oh yeah, if you ever heard his voice, you were like, you who? They'd be like, he answered the phone in his real voice, where he didn't have to talk to people sometimes. So I'm like, but this dude lived his gimmick. So that's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have an honorable mention? I have an honorable mention.
Mine's again a dead guy. God, that's bad. But anyway, Owen. I loved Owen Hart, the King of Hearts. You know.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah. My honorable mention would be Ron Killings.
Really, I like Ron. Yeah.
From first Black NWA champion. Yeah. The teams that he was a part of. The stuff that he got over. And even the stuff he does now is amazing, and he's not even doing anything. I mean, he just
my bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, he'd definitely be high on my list. If the list was longer.
Sure.
All right, let's go with tag teams.
Okay, that's easy.
All right, my first tag team, and this was a team I don't think I realized I was a fan of until years later. Natural Disasters.
I know. Man, I was a fan. Yeah.
Two now, more babyface Natural Disasters than heel Natural Disasters, but one and the same team was perfect together, man. Like it was a good team.
I think they were better as a tag team than they were singles.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They both sucked. Yeah. I mean, they were the perfect example of two guys that came together to make one solid package. And when you took them apart, they just never were as good as they were as a tag team. And I think they were, whether you're looking at, early days of Earthquake, when he was, hanging around with Jimmy Hart and Dino Bravo. He was good, but he just wasn't great. He wasn't marketable. Tugboat and the association with Hogan and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and even after that, he was like, I work construction, He
looked like Fat Popeye the Sailor Man. It was so bad. It was.
He was Brutus.
But he
Brutus
was
a babyface.
He's like, they're paying me, I'm going to do it.
Oh, for sure. But man, like when they put them together and they got the whole little package down pat. Yeah. Perfect, man. Perfect.
All right. Well, mine will be in that same era. I'm going to go with, and it wasn't exactly as wrestlers, it was more their gimmicks, and it's because there was a movie, I can't think of the damn name of it. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and say it, but it's the Nasty Boys.
Okay, I like Nasty Boys.
Them with Sherry Martel. That's when I liked them. Like, they were just some evil SOBs. Yeah. Weren't the greatest workers in the world, but man, they stood out. When you got their nerve to rub another man's face in your armpit, something is wrong.
They were believable because they didn't do anything they couldn't be doing.
And it was what I mean? WCW and WWE. They never changed. They were exact same people. Good guys or bad guys.
I liked them when they went to WCW and they were with Missy Hyatt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was good. I was looking to say that, but yeah, I mean, they had multiple managers and
it just all worked.
But oh God, I know Foley said that was one of the hardest shots he ever took. Was from, I think they had a snow shovel, and he said he hit him with that damn thing. He's like, oh my God, do I owe you freaking money? What in the hell?
I've said that a few times in my career
I've said that a couple myself, but I'm like, damn. Well, for Mick to say it, I'm like, but no, I really liked them as a tag team, and they were just a brawler.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, my next is the Hardy Boys. They, the late 90s, I mean, they kind of made me fans again. More like Brood Hardy or Michael Hayes Hardys. I love that. When they got with, then on with, what did they go with, like Gangrel for a little while, and then
just a minute.
Just on up and up and up.
Then they went to Amy DeMoss.
Well, they were with Terry for a little while, wasn't it? Didn't they win the Terry
Invitational? But it was like that didn't last long at all.
And then they ended up with Lita, and then Team Extreme, and even in the Delete and all that stuff, man. Like they just did good stuff. So
they knew Lita from what was it, Omega? Their promotion,
So overall, Hardy Boys would have to be on there.
Sweet. Let's see. My next would be. Let me say somebody out of the 90s. You know what? I'm going to say another one. To me, they were just brawlers, but I like their gimmick because la-da-da-da-da-dee, we like to party, but Public Enemy. I love them, man. They were so hokey, but again, they were entertaining, man.
They were, and
when
they were just big guys.
The tables to WCW, and they were just, man, it was just crazy. Yeah. And them and Nasty's had some hellacious matches, but you always knew somebody was going through a table. Yeah. They started that in WCW. But yeah, definitely. And
well, they were doing that in ECW before that.
Oh yeah, but definitely. I didn't see that much of that stuff. You know what I mean? So I got to go with WCW version.
I got you.
And the very short match they had in WWE where APA just beat the piss out of them.
Yeah, I think they rubbed some people the wrong way, and then they got rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah, then they got rubbed and beat and banged and slammed and kicked and punched
and rubbed right on
whatever
out.
the hell else. Yep. Kicked out the door. Right. Yeah, but definitely Public Enemy.
All right, for me, quote unquote an indie team. I don't know if you would count them as an indie team, but the Briscoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Briscoes. So you know, Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe. You know, first saw them on some VHS tapes that you brought over, and they weren't even a team. Like Mark was too young to perform in that state, so he was just like.
Carried his brother to the ring, basically stood outside.
Yeah, and maybe at that time, maybe the video I'm thinking about, maybe they were feuding or something, or like Mark was cheering on.
He was jealous of him because he couldn't wrestle yet in that certain state.
But I mean, guys, I mean, man up, you know, and then good stuff. And I hate, you know, Jay passed away, but
Mark
man, what could have been, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
But they definitely left a legacy, at least on wrestling fans. And when you kind of learn about the real Jay Briscoe, and you know, left it with his family too, you know. So
yeah, I agree with that. That definitely sucked. But all right, mine would be. Okay, I got one, and I liked them, and they just didn't. And it's kind of like what you were talking about. They didn't get used good enough. But it was Spanky, which is Brian Kendricks and Paul London.
I agree with that.
I love them, man. I thought so much. They had a great ladder match one year.
Yeah.
That stole the show. And I'm like, they're supposed to get pushed after this. After that, they're losing to everybody.
And I hate the fact that, like, you know, there was a time period when tag team wrestling was really important.
Yeah.
And then there was a time where tag teams were not.
It was like there.
And those guys, or some of those guys, are like, man, like, I just wish they would have done more.
Yeah,
you know, and they are definitely one of those teams.
They had Paul London in the ROH. I remember watching the match and the ladder match, and the ladder was so raggedy. They were chanting "Please don't die" to the guy because he was so loved.
Yeah.
And like WWE just never rode that wave with him.
Yeah.
Or Brian, either one. So.
Yeah, I even liked him. Like, you know, when he went to like
Lucha Underground.
Yeah, Lucha. That's what I was thinking about. And you know, there was a masked, Lucha Libre masked USA or something, for just a short period of time. Like he was under a mask as like Sicko or Psycho or something like that.
I remember that. But they were underutilized.
Yeah,
big time.
I agree with that. I think just because they were smaller guys.
And both Shawn Michaels guys. So that
really does surprise you.
It isn't like who you know. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It can't be all the time.
Because if it was, they would have been bigger stars.
To the moon, man. But yeah.
All right. Well, my fourth team is Hollywood Blondes, Stunning Steve. You know, Flying Brian. You know, again, it was a team. You know, when you learn that they were just threw together and they wasn't supposed to work, and then they worked.
Yeah.
And the reason they worked was because of Pillman. Like, you know, he's going, hey, let's do this. Let's get the matching boots. Let's get the matching trunks.
And
we need gold necklaces.
Yeah. If he hadn't gone with it, they'd have been screwed. But they agreed to go with it.
And it just it worked really, really good. So yeah, I mean that would be definitely
true.
That would be definitely my next team. So.
Gotcha. Well, then I'll go with the team I talked about a while ago that broke up, but the Omega Powers.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I love them. I watched some matches of theirs. They didn't do a lot as a tag, but what they did do as a tag.
The Mega Powers, not Omega Powers.
Yeah, Mega Powers. I'm
running my brain like,
you know what I mean?
Who's Omega?
Yeah, it's Mega Powers. But anyway, but it's just like they were it was another team, like I said, kind of big names, but I guess
Yeah.
you didn't want them together because apart they were worth so much more money.
Yeah. And when you think about
Yeah.
like, you know, the whole build up around that was like 2 years.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. That's when
So-
they used to do that. But two legends. I mean, you can't do
Yeah.
that again.
I agree. I agree with that. All right, my last team is Buff Bagwell or let me start that over. Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Too Cold Scorpio.
Oh, okay. Thought she was going somewhere else.
Yeah, WCW, early 90s. They are actually the inspiration when I said, hey, I'd like to do a top 5 of teams that could have been.
Yeah.
They are the inspiration for that because, man, oh man, they could have been, so much
Scorpio
more.
hates Buck.
I know, it is so sad. But they really were a good tag
I
team.
thought so too. I loved watching him. And Buff's one of the nicest guys we've ever met. And
Yeah.
everybody else talks shit about him. So
I mean, I could see why, because he's
he's a little arrogant, but
well,
you know.
that, and then, and I can only say this because I've seen it personally. Like, he's almost a yes man. If you like it, he likes it, kind of thing.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
Um,
I was like, he was never nothing but nice to me and gave me advice and everything.
yeah,
else.
no, I mean, I like the dude. I mean, I got nothing bad to say about
A
him.
great businessman.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Dude knows what works.
Yeah, big time.
So,
All right, my last one is gonna be. God, this one is kind of weird. Oh, I don't care. I'll say it. It was Cactus Jack and Max Payne,
oh
and
yeah,
they only did it for a short amount
they
of
were
time.
kind of the Buff and
And I was like, why didn't they keep them together? But I guess the same thing. You're worth more apart. But then they did nothing with Max Payne.
I think it wasn't worth more apart. I think it was just like, we don't care.
About either, I guess. But it was like them as a tag team was really
Yeah,
good.
they weren't.
So
Did it stop because Max Payne left, or did he have like a lawsuit or
know.
something?
just
because
one
he
day
ended
they
up
weren't
in,
together.
Because he ended up in WW. Was his run in WWF before or after that? Because he was like Man Mountain Rock or something, and he wore like all tie dye.
I want to say it was after, but it
I
was
think so.
very short.
It was kind of that. They had like him and like Louis Spicoli and a couple other guys there.
But I think they had like maybe 2 or 3 pay-per-view title like a run, and then it was just they were gone, and Cactus was back to being Cactus, and I was like, I don't know what happened, but to me they were a great brawling tag team. So
yeah, I agree with that. And if Cactus Jack ever had a partner like that guy fit,
big time. Well, him and Mikey in ECW was really good too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's stay on tag teams because I just love tag team wrestling. Let's go with tag teams that maybe they were gave up on too soon or didn't do enough with, or could have had a bigger future if they would stay together longer. For me, and again, the Bagwell Scorpio inspire this list, but Fire and Ice.
Oh God, I remember them.
From Ice Train, Scott Flash Norton.
Yeah, they brought Ice Train back a few years later.
He
in
just
the late
passed away.
2000s. Really?
Yeah,
I
like
did not
here
know that.
the last couple of weeks,
Oh,
and like very very little press was on it. Like, he didn't get the R.I.P. My favorite entertainer that everybody else gets. But I really like the Fire and Ice. I don't know, just
They had a look.
yeah. I'm like 8, 9, 10 years old at this time, so I don't know. It's stuck out to me. I can't say they were a great tag team because honestly, I was so young, I don't remember. But I mean, as old as I am now, I still remember them being a team. So something had to click in my head for them to be there.
I can think of 2 right offhand that WCW and WWF did, but remember Rage and Chaos?
Yes.
I always thought, I was like, these guys have a great look. How are they not getting pushed to the moon?
And what were they, like,
and they were just
I
big
Am Pac
jobbers
or something?
Yeah.
They were the guys that their name came from from Matt Hardy. Like.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Their
But
tag team
yeah.
name was his indie name.
But
so
I remember watching them in matches. They weren't bad workers. They looked good. I don't know if they could talk.
they
I don't
were
know if
just
they
green,
ever had that.
man.
I guess
I
that
think
was
that's all it was.
But
they were really, really
yeah,
green.
I mean, I remember them. They stuck out in my brain. So yeah.
All right, sticking with WCW, this is a newer version, but the Natural Born Thrillers, O'Hare and Jindrak, man, like, I thought they gave up on that way too soon, you know, because, like, just within a little bit of time, like, they're switching the partners and one's tagging with somebody else, and, you know,
well, they did
Sean Stasiak's there with them and stuff. I don't know, man, but, like, just, I don't remember a lot about them, but just those two big dudes, athletic, young, great looks. Like, why did you give up so fast?
Oh, God, what are their names in TNA? It was James Storm's first partner. What was his name?
Oh, America's Most Wanted. Chris Harris. James Storm,
Chris Harris.
Wildcat.
Like, why did that break up?
I don't know.
And where the hell did he go? I know James is still out there.
So I think what happened was Chris got interest from WWE.
Really?
And they brought him into the new ECW, and he was like
nothing with him.
Well, he had a horrible first match. He was like Braden Thomas or something, I don't even remember his name.
He was kind of out of shape.
And he was, which he, you know, he was a little out of shape. He just had like a plain singlet. Like, they took away what made him good with America's Most Wanted and just said, "Oh, we're going to reinvent you, and you just go out there in this."
It was like a blue singlet with nothing on it.
Nothing on it. It was just like
I do remember that.
Generic white guy. That should have been his gimmick.
It
like,
was awful.
And he just boom.
Like, to me, them as a tag team was great. I liked him and Bobby Roode too, but I like them better.
Yeah, he's a perfect example of, like, you know, two guys who are not that great but came together and became really good. Not saying James Storm ain't great,
Billy
but
Gunn.
you know, Rockabilly and freaking the Roadie. You know,
they had no plans for him.
Right. Speaking of Rockabilly and the Roadie, my next was K-Quick and Road Dogg. You know, the first time Ron Killings was in WWE, you know, he was tagging with Road Dogg, and I didn't see very much of this. I don't even know how much is there, but I just remember the team,
years worth, I would think.
And just thought, you know, man, this could have been good. And the way they put it together was like supposedly like
K-Dog too.
K-Quick just came in and was like, came into the locker room and like, "Hey, Road Dogg, I'm going to be your partner."
So then they added Conan to it, and here you go.
Well, that Conan didn't get there till
TNA but I'm just
days.
saying, but he later on. But I'm just saying, when they all three got together, man, they were crazy.
Yeah, and man, it just shows you the versatility of Ron Killings, man. Like, dude, I mean, his gimmick never changed a ton, but just
I agree with that.
What he could do, you
know. God, it was part of a storyline, but I always thought they were a good tag team because I never thought one guy was the best singles wrestler. But Tommy Dreamer and Raven, I thought they were great as a tag team. But it was kind of like, you know, he was the bully and he was the blah blah blah. But them as a tag team, I never thought Tommy was a great singles guy, but I thought Raven was.
Yes.
But I thought as a tag team, Tommy and Raven, they played off each other.
Well, the storyline was so great, you got invested.
It was great.
It
really was. Yeah. Because their debut match on ECW is like Tommy turns around and Raven's there and he's like, "Oh shit!" but like they become a tag team off of that, and they had some really decent matches, and it was very short lived. But I thought that was a good tag team.
All right, my next one is kind of a two-part, and they center around one guy, but the guy is Crazy Steve from TNA.
Yeah.
And you know, when he first came out, he was part of like the whole circus type thing they had with like Mike Knox and Crazy Steve and like Rob Terry, I think, was in that.
It's like 3 or 4 or 5 people, yeah.
But that, and then Crazy Steve with Decay with Abyss and Rosemary.
God, yeah.
So
I liked Abyss.
Either version of the Crazy Steve team, whether it's the you know, kind of real heavy dark version with Abyss, or you know, just that kind of serial killer clown type guy with, you know, the big top, or I don't even remember what that little faction was called.
It wasn't.
But like, you know, Rebel, I think Rebel was there,
or something.
The Carnival
like
or something.
I can't remember. Carnival.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I think.
But just that kind of whole Crazy Steve. I guess I'm a Crazy Steve guy. I didn't realize it, but either one of those I thought fit kind of that. You know, what if they would have stayed together for 10 years? You
know. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Oh, because I saw them on the Indies and I cannot remember what they were called, but WWE made them into a joke. But they were the Dicks.
Yeah.
And they were muscle bound, and they were
Yeah.
decent workers. Like I say, I saw them on the Indies. I got a couple of DVDs with them on it. And I'm like, it blew my mind how good they were. And I was like, well, WWE's going to love these guys. I didn't know they were like 5'9". So that's what killed them. Like, Vince don't like short people.
Mhm.
And they were just jacked as hell.
And they just came in that time period where
yeah, and the
like,
bullying
we don't
was
care
going
about
on,
tag
and,
teams,
yeah,
you know.
They got bullied all the way out the door, was my understanding. But
yeah. My number 5 is Varsity Blondes. Brian Pillman Jr., Griff
yeah.
Garrison, AEW. I don't know, man. I just thought it could have worked.
Tony, man.
I just thought it could have worked.
I don't think his father's out there on this huge documentary, and Tony freaking drops the ball at the damn finish line. You know, like, what is wrong with you, dude? You're a multi-millionaire, but how? I have no damn idea. His booking is awful.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought, yeah, there's a lot in AEW. Like, maybe we could do this in AEW, like maybe what could have been.
Oh God, I can do that easy.
But the Varsity Blondes, man, I just thought they had, you know. And then for what didn't they put like the cheerleader chick, the Julia Hart with them for a little bit before they gave up on it? And I was like, man, like
They're literally one of the reasons I quit watching AEW, because of how bad they dropped the ball with those.
and again, I'll go back and say this 1,000 times. AEW's biggest problem is they have too many people.
Oh yeah, big time.
You can't focus on it.
Too many shows.
You've got 3,000 wrestlers. I mean, why? You know, like pick, you know, pick me 10 teams, 10 singles, 10. You know, put 10 guys in each group, and then run with that for a while. Quit signing so many people.
Like 50 people, that's enough.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, but yeah, Varsity Blondes was my last team.
I'm trying to think of how this went. I can't remember how it was.
While you're thinking, I'm gonna throw this very random honorable
ahead.
mention. In one of the Battle Bowls, Jushin Thunder Liger tagged with Bill Kazmaier. Why it worked in my head, I have no idea, because Kazmaier's like this world's strongest man. He's like, you know, huge. Liger's short little like superhero. I have no idea. But in my, you know, 10-year-old mind, man, that worked. So that's my honorable what could have been team.
God. Hold on a minute, I just had it and I lost it thinking about that stuff. Damn, it was Abyss and somebody, and I cannot remember who it was. Anyway.
So somebody that teamed with Abyss.
Somebody teamed with Abyss, and I swear to God, I lost the name, and it was right there.
Was it Stevie Richards when they doing the doctor thing?
Yeah,
Dr.
actually,
Stevie?
that's who it was. Yeah. Because I always liked Stevie as a worker. I
Yeah.
thought he was a great wrestler. Again, another underutilized guy. And they pushed Abyss to the moon and back. You know, hell, he was their champion and tag champion and hardcore champion. If they had that, hell, they probably had a hamster championship on him. I don't know. But they pushed Abyss to the moon and back. But, yeah, I always thought I thought Stevie was a great wrestler. I always did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, he's got some issues now. He's not doing real good.
No, his health is, his body.
Yeah. We just saw that the other day.
Part of wrestling. Funny
That's
how
it.
that works, huh?
You know, a team, and I could talk a ton about this, but do you remember Disciples of the New Church with like Sinister Minister and like Slash, Wolfie D,
Mm-hmm.
and then like Primetime Brian Lee or whatever?
Yep.
I thought that was cool.
Remember Red Shirt Security?
Yeah, Northcutt.
Yeah.
Northcutt, Joey Legend. Yeah. Red Shirt Security was cool, man.
I thought about them, but I was just like, well, anybody know who the hell I'm talking about?
I do.
I was
I
like,
pop
well,
for
you're
that.
probably
So-
the only person, and some people that worked in NWA Battle Zone at the
Yeah,
time.
you know, Joey Legend hit me up like right after I started Ego, man. It was like want me to come in. I thought that was pretty cool. Just like, you know, my budget and
if you go back,
it was not
oh,
where his
God,
budget
no,
was. If I'd had money, I'd been dangerous.
Well, remember, I had Heidenreich did the same thing to me. Remember, I'm like, dude, it's a charity. I can't afford what you're wanting to pay.
Heidenreich was a weird dude. I liked him.
Yeah, it was nice.
I mean, nice as
And
could
he had a
be.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, he's out there, man. Like,
We had a parking lot brawl with Donkey Clown, for God's sake. Come on, bro.
all right, let's go to women wrestlers. This is going to be a difficult with one. Words are hard.
I got it.
This is going to be hard for me.
No. Well, go ahead. You go first then.
And honestly, my pick, she's more known for her managing, but she did wrestle.
Okay.
But she was the first like female wrestling personality that I ever paid attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Sensational Sherry.
So I figured you were going with.
I mean, I actually used a move I stole from her. But I don't know, man. Like, she was always with the top guys, And I mean, go back and watch her wrestle. She was decent. I'm not gonna say she was the world's best wrestler, but she had some cool things that she done. But her as a manager, man, like she, with Macho, with DiBiase, with Michaels, like, with Booker T and Stevie Ray, like she was always with top tier talent. So
I can't remember who did she go in and tell I want to be a wrestler, and he stood up and he slapped the dog shit out of her, and she's like, I still want to be a wrestler. I was like, okay, you're in.
Yeah.
But they said he stood up, just reached across the desk and slapped the piss out of her, and he's like, well, if you can take that, I guess you do want it. And I can't remember who it is. If you look it up, you'll find it.
I had to look that up.
Part of it, yeah. But it was one of the promoters, or I think it was a wrestler promoter. I just can't remember who it was. But yeah, I guess my first one's going to be obvious, but I don't care. But it's Awesome Kong. I love Awesome Kong. That's by far one of my favorite women's wrestlers. But from watching her stuff in Japan.
Oh yeah.
I wish they would have been able to do something with her in WWE, but she was pregnant at the time and they couldn't. So she never was in WCW, but her TNA run was awesome until it got goofy and there it went. She beat up Bubba the Love Sponge, remember?
Yeah, well,
But I heard like she was trying to actually do a little comeback this year. I hope that happens.
That'd be cool.
And if I could do it like a dream woman, like for me to book, it would be Awesome Kong.
And it's great because like voice does not match the wrestler.
No. When I heard her shoot the interview and she's all squeaky,
she's like the chick from Clueless.
Yes. But she seemed like a sweet lady. She really did. But you know who I'd book her against? Camille.
Ah, yeah.
I bet that'd be an awesome big girl match.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Luna Vachon. Again, another person that I know more from her managing, but she is a worker. You go back and watch her stuff. She's just as crazy in the ring there, But my first memory of her was with Bam Bam and like, the shaved head, the tattoo on the head and all. Oh, her and Bam Bam was like perfect together. Like, I don't know, man. Like, if I'm dream matching, like, she's going to be in Bam Bam's corner no matter who it ain't going to be Sir Oliver Humperdinck.
It wasn't Oliver with the red beard.
It's definitely gonna be Luna, man. Like, I don't know, like they done it for me as a.
I just hate she never got the big belt, and she should. And it was promised to her, and they didn't give it to her. So, they make her a lot of promises in wrestling.
For sure.
Let's see. My second is got to be just because I was a huge fan too. Is ODB.
Okay, yeah.
But we met her when she was young and hot, and there was a guy who was willing to let her do something really bad on his chest.
Yeah, well,
it was what it was. And
but yeah,
if you're
ODB,
watching
man.
this, you know who you are.
ODB, and we met her. She was.
She said, "Hi, my name's Jesse."
Yeah,
and
ODB,
like,
Jesse Dalton or whatever. She's kind of in the transition period or whatever phase.
And she wrestled Jazz.
Yeah,
and they had an awesome match.
Yep. And then I got killed.
Yeah, so, she did.
So, ODB, she definitely fits. I'm gonna go with Daphne.
Daphne.
Again,
queen.
Not that she was a huge wrestler, and maybe this should be like my top 5 women valets because it seems like that's
say women in wrestling.
That's where it's at. But from getting the partnership with David Flair, and then she goes on in Ring of Honor. She's with like before that she was like Crowbar a little bit along with David Flair.
I like that.
And then she was Lucifer and she was like CM Punk's girlfriend and stuff and.
She was all over the place too, man. I mean, everywhere.
So, she was in TNA, but I don't remember what actually she did in TNA. I'm sure she did something.
She wrestled some, but that's all I remember.
But, yeah, Daphne. I like Daphne.
Let's see. I'm going to say it, and I know it's going to be on your list too, so I guess we'll just share this one. Molly Holly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
That's my next pick.
Yeah, but I always liked Molly, even as Mighty Molly. I mean, she went with whatever the hell they threw at her.
Yeah,
I had to give that girl credit.
First introduced like with Savage, and she was Miss Madness, and that kind of
Yes.
thing. And
But she was a great wrestler. And the Molly go round, that looked scary as hell to
Yes.
me. I'm sorry.
yes,
I'm like, you're cutting a front flip and landing on my face.
yeah.
Well, but anyway,
It was definitely a very
yeah.
it's visually a cool move for
Yeah,
sure.
it put another visual in my head too. But anyway,
Molly's there with me
Molly.
too, so that's my
Yeah.
number 4. So, just huge Molly fan. She's a hard worker. I think she's one of those girls that from that time period that gets overlooked a lot.
Remember her and the Spike Dudley story where they were like teenagers in love and all that? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 4 as well. So, all right, my number 5. Well, that was your number 3. So, what's your number 4?
My number 4 would be. Let me reach back on this one. And it wasn't, I saw a lot of her matches, but to me, she's my first memory when I think of women wrestling was Wendy Richter.
Okay.
And I probably didn't see 5 of her matches,
Yeah.
honest to God. But it was just like, when I think of women's wrestling, she's the first name pops in my
Right.
head.
No, I agree.
So it's like more of a memory thing than a favorite wrestler thing, but she's definitely the one. If you say women's wrestling, I'm thinking her.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I would say Wendy Richter.
I don't hate that. All right, I'm going to kind of early TNA days with this chick, and I believe her name was Taylor Wilde.
Oh, I remember her, yeah.
She was really good.
Yeah, she was small, but yeah, she was
Yep.
decent.
Like I say, I don't know if there's more out there on her. Never looked her up.
Mm-mm.
She just stuck out in my head like she was kind of a workhorse, So
Mhm.
that would be my number 5, Taylor Wilde.
My last one's kind of a tie. Well, hell, I'll just say them both, but either Alondra Bailey's or Gail Kim.
Okay.
I just don't know which one out of those two I could pick.
Well, 5 and
That'd
6.
been an awesome match.
Oh, for
Honestly,
sure.
think about it. I mean, but
For sure.
those two. Well, I'll say Gail Kim is my honorable mention. But yeah, Alondra, just cause she didn't wrestle like a man by no means. She beat the shit out of you, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
But she wrestled all the Japanese girls when they brought them in,
And
nobody else did that.
She was kind of a tie over from
Yeah.
sports to entertainment.
Yeah. And working with it strong style.
Yeah.
And a lot of women didn't do that then. It was
Right.
kind of,
It was a lot more like, ooh, look, it's odd. It's
Yeah.
women. They were the
Not
midgets
her.
of wrestling.
No, not her.
All right, let's go with indie guys,
All right.
and let's put it with indie guys we actually know.
Oh, that's easy for me, but go ahead.
All right, my first, he's probably made it the highest,
Mm.
and not necessarily from like an American standpoint, but if you just follow his career,
Mm.
Zombie Dragon.
Really?
Unique look. Another guy that was, the Southern typical, like, here, put this mask on, you're a joke. But then, he morphed from, one personality to the other and really, really ran with it. And, then got the gig in China. And I think he's wrestled in like 20 countries. And like he was just teaming with like the Great Muta and Tajiri. I mean, come on, man. Like, how does it get any bigger than that, So yeah, Zombie Dragon, man, he's like what you wish you could do if you were a wrestler.
Yeah.
Like he's living that life.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. And he's living in China, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like I say, he's wrestling like when he's like literally the guy that is worldwide. I mean,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
so it's crazy, but yeah, Zombie's up there, man. Like look him up if you don't know who he is. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's different. I'll tell you that. Let's see. If I got to pick somebody I know that's a traveler, I'd have to go with Steve Anthony.
Oh yeah,
Because we
Absolutely.
met him at a when we
Steve's
first
awesome.
got into wrestling, we met Steve, and hell, he's been everywhere and done everything, and
I mean, at one time, like
God, it was crazy.
he was like trainer for Harley Racing School, and just the stuff that got,
again,
NWA
wrestling
Junior
like
Heavyweight
her,
champion,
yeah.
and yeah,
I got to do an interview with him on Life in a Headlock, and he's a very interesting guy. Kind of quiet. It took him a minute to get into the interview, but the dude's very interesting, and just
yeah,
he's one of the best technical wrestlers. Again, I'm not gonna say the best promo, but he's not a bad promo. But awesome independent technical wrestler.
and dude's like top secret. Like, I tried to book this guy for like 7, 8
Forever,
years
yeah.
before I could even get contact with him.
I tried. You tried. Hell, we knew people that knew him when we still getting
Yeah.
booked.
So, just he was not give my phone number out to people, you know.
I was like, man, top suit, yeah.
But he had enough business. He didn't need, you know, to work the small time shows. So.
Exactly. Hell, he was in Japan, a lot of it.
All right, so my number 2 is a guy that is on par with Steve Anthony, Vordell Walker. Holy crap! I mean, if they're doing it, Dave came through and had to face Vordell.
Yeah.
Dude's amazing. Like, I got nothing but praise for Vordell.
I need to ask Wes how his match went with him.
Yeah,
He had,
and if I could just, if you said, hey, you got to have one guy on your event,
yeah.
and he's available to be Vordell.
And he was from Ring of Honor.
Yeah, Vordell's been everywhere. I mean, been everywhere and faced everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, name a name that's popular in the last 15 years, they've stood across the ring from Vordell Walker.
Okay. Let's see. I'll say one. I'm not exactly friends with the guy, but me and him talked several times. But John Saxton.
Oh, Saxton.
John was
like
a very
Saxton.
good wrestler.
Very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable.
Very opinionated.
Talked so many damn people, it isn't funny.
He's very opinionated, which a lot of people don't like.
No,
but he's always trying to be fair.
Because the person we'll put behind him can't stand each other.
Yep.
So yeah, but I mean, if you look up John Saxon, you'll find him all over doing indie matches. But just a great wrestler, got a voice out of his world. Like he could. That's another one. He could cut a promo.
Yeah.
And him and Steve were pretty tight at one point.
Yeah. They all those kind of New Orleans guys, you know.
What were they? New Orleans Fight Club.
Yeah, but I don't think Steve was in it. It was
wasn't Steve?
Northcutt, Saxon, and
so I thought Steve was in it.
He may have been at some point. When I knew it, it wasn't. So.
But anyway, just another knowledge. If you went to the guy and asked him a question, he was going to be straightforward, blunt, and damn honest.
Yeah, whether you liked it or not, he would put it in there. Exactly. Yeah. All right, my number 3, Wes Warren.
Yeah, I like Wes.
Wes, man, like
I talk to Wes all the time.
The comparisons to like Pillman and you know Benoit and Malenko, like I don't know, man. Wes was destined to be a wrestler. I think. Like
he's getting his look.
I'm a huge fan.
I think he's getting his gimmick all together.
Yeah.
Did you see where he put Vladimir through the damn table in the corner? I wrote him. I was like, that was a load.
Yeah, I'm a huge Wes fan.
Yeah, but I still talk to Wes a good bit actually. And Wes is a very cool guy. He's not the friendliest person you will ever meet in the world. I think he's just like, it's only certain people Wes likes. That's just how Wes is. But I think he's when it comes to learning wrestling, you couldn't get nobody in the ring quicker to learn wrestling.
I mean, he really, I don't know, man. Like he was made for it for sure.
Definitely. He helped us teach other people how to wrestle.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I say when well, hell, we can tell that now. But what was the guy from the internet, YouTube?
Sterling.
When Sterling was there and they were having a feud, they were training together.
Yeah.
But he was in the ring with Sterling, showing Sterling how to do bumps and how to take this and how to do that. You know, so there's a lot of stuff about Wes people.
I love having Wes at training because Wes is just a workhorse.
And he'd do anything. Yeah. Crazy guy.
Yeah. Who's your number 3?
Oh, hell, I guess I'll go the other way. I'll go with Ray. Okay. I was going to say Wes, but I'll say Ray.
Yep. Again, another guy.
I was thinking about this today because I knew we were going to do this, but me and Ray only had one match together. It was a tag match.
And we got hurt?
No. Oh, well, God, I forgot about that. Well, that's a 6-man. I didn't really count.
I couldn't remember if you were in that.
I was
in that match.
He was across the other side. He was there, yeah. But it was me and Paul Wright against Ray and
Max Glory.
Another
guy,
and,
man.
We did
what
so
could have been.
Yeah, agreed. Very much so, especially promo was. But I just thought about that today. I was like, that was one of my favorite. Right at the end of my career matches was that, and I loved it. And Ray's just a natural, and he's gotten better with his promos, way better. He was awful at the beginning, but he knows that, so I ain't telling you nothing he don't know.
But he got better because if we were running late or something like that, he was always a guy I'm like, here, go talk.
Yeah, very much so. Friends with children, and
Not in the bad way.
No. But like, I mean, he had, he shows at the kids' birthday
Yeah.
parties and stuff, and
Yeah.
there are little kids that just love this guy, and and he's just one of those people, man.
Yeah, no doubt. My next one is a tie. Actually, it's a three-way tie,
Mhm.
and it's weird because it's a guy that's still working, a guy that did a good bit but then had to stop, and then a guy that did some and didn't. So it's really weird, but it's Adam Priest.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's still out there killing it.
Yeah.
I put him in that West category where like I just like his work.
Mhm.
Orion Taylor is a guy that done a good bit but then had to kind of give it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were talking about Max Glory. I think Max Glory was a
Yeah.
guy that really got out too soon.
I think he missed his mark, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's a guy I wish would get back in.
Yeah.
Like
I
he's
do
still
too.
super young and could really do it.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Because when I heard him promo, I was like, this guy's got it. I mean, 100% had it,
Yeah.
nailed it, and I'm like, didn't have to do a retake.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. Because, well, I fuck it, don't hurt to tell, but I wrote, the movie script I'd wrote.
Yeah.
And he was one of the people I was going to ask to try to be in it if I could ever get that kind of money up to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And let's see, where am I at? Last one, I guess.
Well, you're on number 4.
Number
That was
4?
my number
Okay,
4.
well, Jeremy Olsen / Nightmare, I would definitely say as an opponent and as
He's my
just
number
a
5.
person or as a wrestler. Just he does things even today. I don't know exactly how old Jeremy is, but
he's old enough he shouldn't be doing the things he's doing.
no kidding. Like he's like, I'm gonna do this. This ain't no damn way. And I watch the match and he does it. I'm like,
I guarantee you, he's to the point where now where he wakes up and goes, man, why did I do that?
Jeremy or Nightmare
Nightmare.
is our Terry Funk.
Yeah,
Is the best way I can put it.
I can say that.
Because
I
every
mean,
time I say it, I said, man, don't hurt yourself. He goes, oh, I'm watching, I'm going to do this and this and this.
and
I'm
he's
like,
the
"You
guy
gonna
that
do
really
what?"
struggled to find his identity.
Yeah.
And he worked 2-3 shots with like Wildcats, and they birthed the Nightmare gimmick. Still didn't have it perfect.
No.
Um,
He's just taking little pieces of here and there.
but man, like he's my number 5. He's one of my favorite guys in the business. Again, if I could have somebody on my show, he's on it if it works.
If I'm running over, I'd book him in a heartbeat.
He's just, and then I'm a little. Kind of holds that special place with me because I think my like high success from an entertainment value was me managing the Nightmare. I had so much fun doing that. I think my style, his style fit perfect together. I think I complimented him and I didn't take away from it.
Who's the first person you manage?
You. You. First person I tagged with, you.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, like, I don't know, man, like me and Nightmare, that was a thing I wish I could have came upon. If Nightmare would have been where he was at when I broke in and I could have just been with him.
But he was awesome
Man, I don't know. Nightmare's my number 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Guys to watch on the indies.
Great
And this
one.
list could be 50 people
Oh no,
long.
easy, very easy. I'll tell you one, and I've only been in the ring with him one time, and I know some people say he's a little too hard or whatever, but the judge,
RJW.
RJW. I
Yep.
said it backwards. My dyslexia kicked in, but I got to do a battle royal with him 2 years back. And bro, I think the guy has a lot of potential. Matter of fact, him and Nightmare, if it's to have a rematch for a title at a company coming up, and bro, they did a spot where Jeremy's in the corner and Nightmare's in the corner and he's beating his ass with that damn whip, and I'm just like, I'm glad I'm not Jeremy.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
RJ, man,
But
he's one of those guys where he came, if he could have came into the business a year earlier, I think he would have done well because he would have got put in that group with Wes and Fury and those guys. But he came in as a tail end of me training, and I really done him a disservice by not like fully getting him going. But it was just a weird time in my life. And he went and started working with Battle Zone and training with them and those guys. And I mean, I think in a year or two, you're really going to see him at his
he's
best.
stepping up. I've started watching some of his matches. He's getting better and better each time he gets in there. So And that's what you got to do. People don't realize, man, you start out, you suck. You think
Yeah.
you're the king shit, and you actually are just shit.
Yeah.
And but
It takes a while,
yeah,
man, to get your
years, man.
footing. So
I figure like the last year of my life, I'd literally started putting together a match that I know I could do each time, and I wouldn't kill myself.
yeah,
So that's just, I mean, but I think RJW will definitely get up there. I think the judge gimmick is great.
yep,
Uh,
it fits him really well.
work on your cardio, son. Besides that, I think he's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when y'all hear his real voice, well, y'all ever be surprised.
It's very deep.
Sure it is.
All right, what about opponents?
Opponents, that was easy. Okay.
This one, I struggled with this one because
Really?
I've had so much fun, like working people.
Well, one of mine's kind of surprised you. I bet it'll surprise you, but go ahead.
All right, so my number one is Ron Horn. It's so much fun wrestling Ron. I don't know how many people can say that, but I am one of those
Beat the
people.
brakes off me.
Ron was a blast.
Ron poured a bottle of spit on me one night.
Yeah, I would have puked.
I wanted to. Ron's a nice guy, though, but by far. He taught me a lot. A whole lot. And talk about a person that turned his life all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
Is Ron Horn.
Night and day, man. But
Yeah.
I just, like, he is 1/4 of my favorite match I've ever had.
Oh, the roof.
Yeah. It was me and Joey Abel, the Fanatics, versus Whiskey Hangover, Ron Hornberry
You were
Wolf.
hanging, all right.
Working a match for the late Brickhouse Brown in a
Yes.
bar slash brothel slash I
What
don't
the
want to know
hell
what
am I
goes on
in?
behind the
Yeah.
doors. But had this idea like, hey, can you put me through the roof? And I thought I was just gonna like bump the roof. No, I tore the whole roof down, got beat up with the roof, and then we had to brawl around the bar because the ring was destroyed pretty much. And I mean, we're turning over tables, we're, these buckets of beer, and I think I got like slid down the bar movie style, like favorite match ever.
God.
So my
you-
1 and 2, Ron Hornberry Wolf.
You might be a redneck if, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And it's great because like, it was Brickhouse's woman. I don't know any other way to say it. As the match ended, I'm laying on the floor and she gets down and says, "You fucked up. You shouldn't have done that," which required us to go straight to the locker room, get our fucking bag, and leave because we were in a part of town where the police were not coming.
No.
And I don't know what she meant by that,
Yeah,
but I did
not
hear
good.
that everybody that was there and the bar owners loved it. So
Didn't some fan like wind up paying for the damage or
dude,
some
I
crap?
have
That's the story
no
I was
idea.
told.
We got the F out of there. We pulled a WWF and we got it out of there.
I was told that there was a guy that liked the match so much, and the one guy was pissed off, and he offered to pay for what happened.
Maybe so. 'Cause
And I'm like, that's awesome.
We
if
had a
that's
blast.
true. And I don't even remember who told me that. It might have been Barry. I
It may have
think.
been, but we did not stick around. We went to our brothel style room, got our gear, and left.
Wow.
Uh,
Well, you want to describe the back since you pretty much told it.
the back was like a mini bar. It had like a little bar, and then a room, and then a chair, and these like blankets hanging in between these chairs.
With beds.
And so, no, they were just chairs.
Just chairs.
And so we thought, oh, well, they made little locker rooms or whatever. And right beforehand, like the door to that little room opens up, and like 10 women in very minimum amounts of clothing came out, supposedly to dance with the old men that would be coming by. And I guess they danced in these little rooms made by
my
these blankets and chairs.
God.
So I can't tell you what went on there.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that was, I probably sat in a chair that I probably needed to spray with some Lysol or
You probably
bleach
needed to
or
spray your whole
gasoline
body
or
with some
something.
Lysol.
But what do you know when you're 25? I don't know nothing. So
It was fun.
it was amazing.
Okay.
That's my 1 and 2.
Let's see. God, I got. Well, I'll say Mike. Big
Okay,
Mike Carter.
Carter.
Yeah, because me
You had
and
some
him
memorable
just
feuds.
beat the brakes
Yeah.
off each other matches, and
Gave me my first chair shot.
Oh,
It
he-
sucked.
Oh God, he hit me one time so hard with a chair, I was legit wanting to break his face. Like Jared, like my tag team partner was really having to hold me back because I really wanted to go kick Mike's ass. So, like, I was so mad. I've never broke character in my life, but I was so pissed off that, like, I was like, you mother and effer and everything. I wanted to kill him. Oh, it hurts so bad. He hit me one time because I was laying on the ground. There's no way to. I wasn't getting up. Like, I'm flat, so there's no give. And he's wham. I'm like, you mother. But as far as an opponent, I love working Mike.
All right, what's your number 2? Because I don't.
Nathan Aldridge.
Oh,
yeah, I love working Nathan, man.
Nathan Lawler.
Yeah, we saw him at an indie show one night where you wouldn't work anybody in the back, and I wound up having to work. And after the match, I said, I'm going to go out here and see what's going on. And a lot of it was just, whoo, Lord, you didn't want to be there matches. But there was one guy that took 2 guys that had never had matches before, but like one apiece, I think. And he made these guys look like superstars. And I told him, I said, we need to get this guy's phone number.
And we used him a lot.
A lot. Until he moved.
Yep.
But Nathan, man, was one of the best workers. I wrestled him 2 times. I was supposed to be in a 3rd one, but it never wound up happening. So I got to win. He's got to win.
That's cool.
One of my favorite opponents.
All right. Well, speaking of hitting people hard, my number 3 favorite opponent is the Madman, Logan Creed. Yeah, we've broke in together and broke out together.
Well, the only reason each other got in a damn paper.
Crippled each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
took my hair.
Took your hair. Yeah, you.
That was so stupid. I'll never forget calling you at your house. Hey man, somebody stole our damn name. He's like, that's us. Oh,
yeah, that's what happens when you make it a magazine and you don't
I
realize
was like
you're famous.
so shocked. I'm like, oh God, oh well, that's us. Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. Fun times. Yeah,
true. Well, yeah, no, you're one of my favorites too.
Yeah, so that's mine. That's my number 3.
Yeah.
Who's your 3?
The hell, I'll say you,
right.
honestly.
That works.
Because we've wrestled each other. I think we've wrestled each other more than probably any damn body else I've ever wrestled. Between you and Roosevelt, it'd be one of the top 2. I mean, we started the same places, wrestled the same places. It's
fun times.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though we can't walk.
Everything, barely.
All right, my number 4, Steve O'Malley.
Steve,
I've had a handful of matches with him. I've booked myself against him a bunch. 2 memorable things that stand out with me. We wrestled for the NWA Hardcore title and the infamous table that did not break.
Oh God.
We had that, and then yeah, I had the idea one night. It was right after like Joe and
I basically had a coffee table.
Yeah, it was like
I swear.
But it was a match later on that I booked. And it was fresh off like Samoa Joe and like Kabashi or somebody doing like 1,000 chops in the match.
Oh God.
And I had this idea like, hey bro, let's do that. And I think I made like 15 or 20 chops. I'm like, I'm out, bro. This is stupid. This is such a horrible idea.
You want to just beat the shit out of each other?
Yeah, no,
pain hurts, dude.
Well, this is the dumbest. I've done some really dumb stuff. That was one of them.
Well, people always ask me like, why I like to chop so much. The real reason is it gets your adrenaline going. It keeps you going.
The other reason, I know it hurts like hell.
Oh, it hurts like hell, and it's going to get a reaction, but it really gets your adrenaline going in the match. If you're blowed up, chop him.
You know how many strangers I've chopped by being out promoting, and someone would tell me, "Oh, that stuff's fake." And I'm like, "Oh, if it's fake, let me give you a chop." Matter of fact, we're sitting at a Walmart, and in this very Walmart, I had a guy say that to me, and I said, "Oh, let me give you a chop," and he was like, "Oh, I can take that fake shit." I chopped this dude as hard as I could, and when I chopped him, I could see there was 2 looks on his face. This hurts like hell, and 2, I'm gonna kill this guy. So I hit him and ran.
I think it's called assault.
But it was great.
Wow.
I mean, it's not assault. He signed up for it.
I guess we agreed to take it now.
But I don't think he realized that it was not
it hurts.
But that was great.
You want to know somebody that hurt me one time, and this is your family member. What's your little
DJ?
No, not DJ.
No?
The other one, his brother.
Brandon?
Yes. He would come up to me one night at Battle Zone, and he reared back and chopped me as hard as he could right in the chest.
Like,
and I remember, I'm like, I can't sell this. This is a kid. There's no way I can sell this.
100 pounds.
Because he's like, that didn't hurt you? The hell no, not a lick. He turned around and walked away. I was like, and I remember it was Sheila was standing there. She goes, how bad was it? She goes, oh, God.
He's like 13 years old.
I think my penis shrunk. It hurt so bad. And I was like, oh, my. She said, you wasn't going to say, I said, hell no, not for no kid, man. I said, that hurts so bad.
All right, my last favorite opponent, bit controversial, I'm sure, especially if you live in Mississippi, Brett DiBiase.
Brett?
I've wrestled him 3, 4, 5 times. So much fun every time, and he gave me the biggest compliment. His first match, his second match, following being released from WWE.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he ever worked an indie show. He worked
the bowling alley, wasn't it?
This was at the Armory.
Armory? Okay.
It was the first.
Oh yeah.
He worked a show for a company in
like
Hattiesburg that Friday night,
mm-hmm.
and worked Aeon Flux or something like that. A guy who, trained in the dungeon and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And then so he wrestled him that Friday night. He came wrestle me that Saturday night, and he said, "Thank you for being a good worker." He said, "Because the guy I worked last night sucked."
And I was supposed to work him one time. Remember, he no-showed us.
And that was a huge compliment for me because
it's a WWE guy.
Yeah, it was just the fact that, like, I never considered myself a good worker. Entertainer, sure. But after that, like, if he wrestled around somewhere, he was like, I want to wrestle that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
y'all wrestled each other like 2 times, didn't you?
Probably like 5 or 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We wrestled at the Armory there in Byram, then the bowling alley at Byram. I wrestled him in Canton. I wrestled him a couple other places. Can't remember, but yeah, we had about 5 matches. We had 3 or 4 in Byram. Which was not Byram, in Clinton. I said Byram, but in Clinton, his hometown or whatever.
Wow.
But he would be like, "Hey, I'm wrestling. I want to wrestle you." And that was
cool.
That was a huge compliment for me.
No kidding.
Nobody's ever said, "I want that guy." So either I was really good or I sucked and I was safe. I sucked safely. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you my last 2 because a while ago I just told you a story about your cousin whooping my ass. I didn't tell you my favorite. Was Rick Morgan.
Okay, Raging Rick.
Me and Rick had some battles. Man.
Agreed.
Loved working Rick.
I did too.
Light.
Oh, so light.
At the exact opposite, he hated getting chopped. And he'd do it now, but he couldn't stand it. And we had a couple of road trips that were classic with Rick terrified in the back and has a little bitty bullshit knife that ain't that damn big in the back. And he goes, man, I know he's going this kind of neighborhood.
We've been in some sketchy places.
Rick was a great person, man. I really did like Rick. His brother wasn't a bad worker when he was the right way.
Yeah.
But me and him had some good matches. And my last, actually, we only have 1 match, but I swear to God, it was one of my favorite matches I ever had. But it was me and Eric Black.
Oh,
and we wrestled at NWA Battle Zone one night. And I'd kind of come back on some controversy, but let's just say I was doing what I had to do to get back. And they put me with Eric, and I was like, okay. And it was Chris booked it. And it just one of those matches I think, when I think of a really good match, I wish it was on recorded. It may be somewhere. But I love that match. And he speared me twice and pinned my big butt. But it was a good match. I mean, I really enjoyed that match.
I got an honorable mention. Jesse Dalton. Trained me.
Never got to wrestle.
Had a handful of matches with him. They were always fun. He's just funny.
My favorite part's when he wetted his shirt for you to chop him so it'd make some noise.
And then I set him on fire.
Did you ever? Oh, yeah.
I have a good chop. That's my strong suit. Chops and getting beat up.
You were Chan Lee. Remember that whole scenario? And you were under a hood.
Yeah, first, second match, same day. It was great.
Yeah.
All right, you got an honorable mention?
My other honorable mention would actually be Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And me and Pharaoh wrestled as that, and then we did one where he was under a hood.
Yep.
And again, Pharaoh's one, he doesn't like to be chopped, but I laid just one good one on him. He walked to the back and he had that Superman symbol on his chest when he took his shirt off. He's like, damn it!
Fun times. Well, that's been this supersized episode of Ego on Break. hopefully we'll be back within the next 8 to 10 months.
Well, I think this one's over an hour once you put everything together.
It's over an hour. So
enjoy.
until next time, watch wrestling.